Uh, former Israeli defense minister says that Israel is carrying ethnic cleansing in northern Gaza. Moshe Ayalon, a very, stalwart Likudnik, and so on. So why is that offensive to you? Why can't you say what Israel is doing is basically ethnic cleansing?
So we have engaged with the government of Israel about its actions in northern Gaza. I think those statements refer broadly to the so-called general's plan. I can tell you two things. Number one, they have said to us that's not their policy. And number two, we have made clear to them that that we would fundamentally reject any such policy. I can't speak to the assessments made by a former Israeli military official. I can tell you that when it comes to potential violations of international humanitarian law, something else he raised in his statement, we have our ongoing assessments, and they have not concluded.
But, most observers see what's going on, and they term it as such. I know you disapprove the word genocide and so on, but, a lot of people think what's going on is genocide, especially that the threshold has crossed 45,000 people. So I'm saying that at one point, the U.S. has to recognize what's going on for what it is, right? For what it is. Say, that, when you move about 2 million people, that is some sort of ethnic cleansing. Do you disagree?
So we have been very clear what we want to see happen in Gaza, and that's everyone who has been forced from their homes, we want to see have the opportunity to go back to their neighborhoods and have the ability to rebuild and have support from the international community to rebuild. And we continue to engage, not just with the government of Israel, but with other countries in the region to work to get both a ceasefire and the release of hostages and a plan for the day after that would ultimately allow those Palestinians who have been displaced to do that.
But there seems to be no plan for the day after as far as Israel is concerned. We have not seen it. We have not seen it in statements or in deeds and so on. In fact, yesterday, or the day before, I don't remember, they killed three other workers from the World Central Kitchen, so that Israel shows its intent to deprive Gaza of any kind of aid that goes, under the pretext that they are attacking a militant. I mean, they've killed the people that committed October 7th. There were maybe 1,400. They have killed already 45,000 people, and they keep doing this under the guise or the pretext or the claim that there was a militant among those people.
So, with respect to that strike, I can't speak to it. I know that they have made the public claim that one of the people killed in that strike was affiliated with the attacks on October 7th, or had been involved in the attacks of October 7th. If that's true, it would, of course, be extremely troubling. But that said, there were other civilians who died in that strikes, which is why we continue to push for a ceasefire. I can tell you that the Secretary is meeting with Israel's Minister for Strategic Affairs, Ron Dermer, later today here at the State Department, where he is going to continue to express the position of the United States that we need to get a ceasefire, we need to see the hostages released, we need to implement plans for the day after that would allow or would establish governance, security, and reconstruction inside Gaza, and that ought to be an urgent priority, not just for the United States, not just for other countries in the region, but for Israel as well.
Would you demand to look at the evidence that Israel claims to have used in killing the kitchen, central kitchen, the World Central Kitchen? It's a Washington-based organization.
Look, we think that barring any unique intelligence sensitivities, that's evidence that they ought to make public for the world to see.
And you think they will?
No, I'm not going to make any predictions about the future.